Hello, 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 friends, and welcome to another book review. I am your host, Shirada Sky, or you can call me Ryan. We're going to be touching on Stone Wings, The Gargoyles of Arrington by Jen Burke. This is the first of a trilogy in the Gargoyles of Arrington, and the other two books are actually already out this year. One came out in January and one came out in June. I haven't read them yet, but I don't also have them yet, but I enjoyed this one. So this is the first of the series. We get introduced to the characters, the lore of the world, so we got a little bit more to touch on. So, as we do in every book review, we're going to start off with some story overview. So just a heads up, there are going to be some spoilers ahead, and we're going to be touching on the characters here in a second. But if you don't want spoilers, you can always just stop it here and just know that I fully recommend this book. It's short. It's a lot happens in a short amount of time, but it's enjoyable. It's a nice wild ride. So, yeah, let's start off. So, starting off with the characters, we're introduced to Josh Pallison and Drew O'Reilly. I'm gonna butcher names. Josh Pallison is a caretaker for the Gargoyle brothers. It's something that has been in his family since the great grandfathers have been doing so. It's basically explained in the first book that the Gargoyle brothers, since they are immortal, saved one of their great grandparents from drowning after a ship went down when they're colonizing the new world, if you will. So they've been in not servitude, but basically servitude for the brothers, not in a indentured servitude, just more of like this is a job I have. And one of the notable things that he does and it is happened to him, which is, I hate to say it like this, I think the characters, I don't know how I ranked them. If I ranked them high, my apologies. The characters are bare bones at best. I don't know a damn thing about Josh besides the fact that he was publicly dumped by his high school boyfriend at their high school prom in front of everybody. That's the only thing I can note that's like noteworthy about him. He's kind, he's sweet, he's genuine, he's trying to be nice, he's trying to do good, but like there's not much to talk about for Josh. Drew, on the other hand, he is the love interest that we're going to be talking about today. He's one of the Gargoyle brothers. He can manipulate metal and works as a mechanic. He offers to take Josh to his high school reunion as a date because otherwise Josh said he wasn't going to go. And it's mainly because of his ex that he doesn't want to go. So I understand it, especially being dumped publicly like that. I wouldn't want to go. Like, you guys laughed at me. Fuck you. Anyway, the other characters we get to meet are Rian O'Reilly. Yeah. He works as a tattoo artist. He puts runes on the brother's skin that helps with their magic. So one of the ones that Drew gets is to help with his will, which helps him stay in his human form longer. It's not like a band-aid temporary, but it's like an enhancement. It's not permanent. And then we have Tegan O'Reilly, the older brother. He works as a cop. Moving on. Brandon Beatty is Josh's ex. He's a stuck-up prick. He's the guy who dumped Josh publicly when Brandon, I believe, was crowned prom king, which is awkward. And he works as an investment banker, as we find out when they're introduced at the high school reunion. And then we have, Ari Holst. He's a fashion designer, and Brandon's husband. And that's basically it. That's all the main characters. I mean, we have some aside villains that I don't really care to name because, I don't want to spoil too much of the story in terms of what's going on. But as I say that, as I'm going to spoil some of the story. So, as I mentioned, Josh gets an invite to his high school reunion and doesn't think he's going to go because, why bother? Those guys were a bunch of assholes to him. But the brothers do convince him to attend. Drew offers to go as his fake date as a means to kind of get him there, and it works out well. It's a fake date. It's a fake dating relationship. I love that. At the reunion, they run into Brandon and his husband Ari, and when they go out to dinner, Brandon continues to verbally degrade Josh in front of Drew, and Drew loses it. Nothing happens, but they basically just leave. Brandon makes a fool of himself. Ari is embarrassed. Ari tries to make amends. And they say, we're fine with you, Ari. We just don't like Brandon. So it's very much a we like you, but not your person you're with kind of issue. And I love that for him. But then, because of that, word gets out that Drew and Josh are dating, and then Josh's parents find out. And they're both happy and worried for their son. This curse that the gargoyles have means that they're only awake for a few more years. I think they're only awake for 25 years before sleeping for another century. So by the time Drew wakes up again, Josh is going to be long gone. And they're worried about Josh because once Drew goes to sleep, they're not coming back. You'll pass on before they come back. So it's a lot of kind of buildup of, we have this ticking clock ahead of us where if you're not my true mate, this won't work out and I'll be away from you and we'll leave, So they don't want to like fall in love and get attached because they realize that their time is limited, but they, in a way, kind of want to make the best of it. And then, because it's a supernatural story, of course there's drama. A witch comes to get her revenge on their O'Reilly brothers for a debt their parents never settled with her. And then Josh winds up in the crossfire and barely makes it out alive in a coma. And it's drama from there. Drew doesn't want to be with Josh because Josh is a human and he's squishy and he doesn't want him to get killed and all this kind of woe is me, my lover is going to die kind of thing. And then Josh is like, why are you making decisions for me, dude? Like, it's very much a, happily ever after that's wrapped up in a, I would say like a 30-page section that's just like, don't fucking make decisions for me. Let us make them together. But let's touch on the tropes because I think that's where I'm going to have a little bit more to talk about. So, got some tropes. So it's obviously, the book is positioned as a supernatural romance through and through. The curse sucks, yes. Being asleep for 100 years, waking up every 100 years to a new century, basically, and living for 25 years means you have to adapt to a lot. New technology, new ideas, new kind of words and vernacular and like kind of like language. For example, Brandon kind of assumes that Josh is with Drew because Drew is a sugar daddy, but Drew doesn't understand the phrasing, so he says candy daddy. And, Josh has to kind of like whisper and correct him. And it's things like that where it's like, I get it. Why waking up every 100 years to a new century and not knowing anybody and kind of having to restart your life again kind of sucks. And especially relying on a protector is rough, as we've seen in the history that they kind of touch on. One of the protectors didn't do their job well, and it meant 2 of the brothers were lost. They were 5, and now they're 3 in that kind of way. So I get it. And especially like once you find your true mate, you lose your powers. Like, friend, I want to be a badass vampire who can get stone skin, who can manipulate metal and shit. I don't know if they lose the ability to like manipulate metal and stuff, but like losing the ability to turn into a gargoyle or like have like super armor, that kind of sucks. I would rather have that, even if I have to sleep for 100 years. It doesn't sound like that bad. But enough about the supernatural stuff. We obviously need to talk about the fake dating situation. We do have, a high school reunion fake dating situation where Drew wants to be the fake date of Josh so that way Josh can go to his high school reunion. And I like that. I eat that shit up for breakfast, so that's good. Also give the true mates breaking the curse means this new layer of fake dating, like, because it didn't happen immediately, like, in the past, or like the way it was described to them, once you find your true mate, the change happens immediately, or like you realize immediately. Nothing really happens, but there's a small bit of foreshadowing when Drew kisses Josh at the reunion and like the spark that they feel. But because nothing happens, they're kind of, oh, we're not true mates, it's fine. We can still have fun, And I do like that. Especially the change from the friends to co-workers dynamic to the lover. Like, he's a caretaker for the Gargoyle brothers and manages the household finances when they're asleep. He's been doing that for the past, his dad was doing it before him. But it's an interesting change on this kind of dynamic. It's almost like a butler situation, if you will, but a little bit more than that. And then the friendship between the Gargoyles and Josh is quite nice and refreshing. They're all very protective of their human protector, when they're asleep and stuff like that. So I think it was nice. I think it's a quite nice take on this kind of supernatural one. And for Gargoyles, like, I didn't expect to find this interesting or appealing, but the way they describe, like, Josh's hands on the rough skin of Drew and, like, the thickness of the hard stuff when Drew's, happy, if you will, it's great. It's an interesting take, and it's quite spicy. So let's go talk about some rankings. As we go through these each time, we'll go through the plot, the characters, the writing style, some spicy scenes, and how do I feel about the book as an overall book. So for the plot, I'd give this 3.5 stars. It's nice. It's fast-moving, and I think that is a detriment to the book itself. We go from immediately, like, from the high school reunion to everyone knows, to the parents know, to, oh, here's this other thing that's going on because, like, oh, we're going to go to sleep soon, so this other pack is trying to move in, and then there's a witch, and then there's this. It's just, like, there's a lot of, like, things that happen, but I think if it was just, like, one or the other, like, if it didn't focus solely on the high school reunion, fine, but if it did, either there's an incoming pack or there's this threat from the witch, don't do both. I think doing both was a detriment for the pacing overall, and I think it could have been handled a little bit better. But I think I do like the plot in terms of the romance aspect. That's why I finished the book. It's the romance and then the characters, though. I don't know why I gave it a 4-star. I probably would have given this a 3-star. I know next to nothing about Josh. I know next to nothing about Josh. I know next to nothing about any of the brothers. And I think that's kind of hard to do in, I think this page is like, book is like under 200 pages. Yeah. For a book that's under 200 pages, you have a lot you need to cover, especially with all the stuff that I mentioned. The incoming, like, pack, the witch, the high school reunion, the parents finding out, the town finding out. You know, there's a lot there, but there's not a lot of time for the characters. So I will probably, if I ever redo this, I might change the ranking. The writing style, though, I think is good. I enjoyed the writing style of Jen Burke. I've never read anything by them before, and it's great. I enjoyed it. I want more. I'm going to read the other two, and hopefully the other two are a little bit better. We'll see. But I doubt that Josh and Drew are going to heavily focus in the other two books because they're already mates, you know? So that's all we're going to get of Josh besides, like, maybe some development there at the end, like in terms of like throughout the book, maybe he'll grow a personality. Who knows? And then the spicy scenes, I would give it a 4.5 stars. I quite enjoyed the spicy scenes, especially with the gargoyle form for Drew and in Josh's relationship. I think it's great. It's a new take. It's innovative. I really enjoy the change in, you know, from like soft skin to stone skin, if you will. And it's enjoyable. I really enjoy the spicy scenes, and I really liked the book as well. So overall, I'd probably give this like 4 stars, as I say here. But for the characters, I might have to drop that down to a 3. We'll see. Hopefully, the other books do more to improve the character dynamics, because like I don't know much about any of these characters besides their jobs and maybe like a little bit about their personality. Like I can tell Tegan's a stoic guy, and I can tell Rian's a little bit more fun and loose, but like Drew's the youngest, and I got no sense of who he was either, you know? So it's kind of hard. But as far as recommendations, I do have 2 books. They are fairly similar, not in terms of gargoyle themes, but in terms of supernatural themes. So for Supernaturals, I recently just read It's Not Unusual to Be Loved by an Alien. It's pure supernatural. I mean, both of these are supernatural, but for different reasons. This one's by Chloe Archer. It's great. It's I don't know why I thought about it like this, but if you took like Greg Sanders, made him a sci-fi nerd / writer, and then put him in Vegas, which is where he was from CSI anyway, but then like make him fall in love with an alien, that's what I got. And then for the friends to lovers, Love Blood, the Portland Pack Book 1 by MJ O'Shea. It's a supernatural love story about in high school. It's great. And again, big shout out to Potato Kingdom for being a patron. I appreciate your support so much. Every month that goes by reminds me that I, have somebody who is cheering me on, so I appreciate it. And if you guys want to follow me in other places, you can follow me on Twitch. I stream nightly there, 7 nights a week, a different game every night. You can also follow my unhinged thoughts on Twitter, and you can also support me on Patreon if you like. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week ahead. I love you all so much. Do all those YouTube-y things like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me out here. And I hope you guys enjoy the books I recommend, and hopefully you guys let me know if you read them or if you read anything similar. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.